And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Grade 8 Fantasy, reviewing the week. Oh, wow. This has gone so fast, I almost forgot what week it is. Are we week 12 or 13? I have no idea. We are week 13. Week 12 is still going on. And hey, it's another exciting 10 gamer. Uh, Last week was definitely not the week for me on prize picks. I went against the grain, and with that late run, Jonathan Taylor got me, but I was definitely heavy on Kyron Williams and Pittman. And yeah, that seems to be about it. That's all that works for me. I'll go over all that when I do my prize picks video later this week, but we are here for FanDuel. So, starting off, I like to start off with the wide receivers because the wide receivers are stocked. A lot of great matchups. Worth every penny. I probably won't hesitate. Now, obviously, 10,000 is a quarter. Well, 9 people. You have 9 people to roster, but it's a good chunk of change. But he's worth it. Tyreek Hill has the best matchup. Washington, not only the worst, probably the worst defense in the league right now, but like I said, the type of passes that they can't defend. This is pretty much literally. This is not pass funnel. You've heard me say it before. This is not pass funnel Tampa Bay. This is not pass funnel Tennessee. Even the Eagles and the Bills have issues. Slight weaknesses defending the pass. But when you can't defend the deep ball, I think everybody. Now it's going to be interesting. Like 10,000 is a lot. I don't think he's going to get 33% or whatever the hell he was. I mean, some places had him projected close to 40%. Jonathan Taylor definitely paid off his price at 75,000, 91 yards and 2 touchdowns. But 10,000 against this matchup is going to be interesting to see how much ownership he does get. 10,000 is a lot, but like I said, there's been weeks where McCaffrey was more than this, and McCaffrey was still touching 20%. You ask me, Tyreek Hill is probably looking at the floor for his ownership is probably 19, 18, and his ceiling is probably 27. Because there are some good running back matchups you're still going to want to try and get to. But other than that, we look at Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen is in a good spot now. It seems like Los Angeles is definitely fading away from the opportunity of getting into the playoffs. But still, Keenan Allen still has a good matchup against a struggling. Right now, seems to be a struggling organization in New England. And looking at his game stats, I mean, when you see those targets, he's worth every penny every week. If you're trying to, I mean, look at those 20, 11, 9, 10, 9, 14, 16, 16. And obviously the targets are going to stay that way too because of all the injuries that the Chargers are actually going through right now. So pretty hard to get away from him. The thing with Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's going to get a lot of targets. The reason why I wish I did a video last week, Marcus Lattimore, their best quarterback. Now, Amon-Ra's damn near, team proof. It doesn't matter. He's going to get his targets or whatever the case is. But if Lattimore does get to guard St. Brown, just be wary of that. Lattimore has had games where he, shuts down the deep threat or whatever, or the main guy, and he will shadow. So that is interesting to look out for. It is defensive news that you all should pay attention to. But once again, I mean, Amon-Ra runs deep. He runs slants, deep slants, quick slants. So Amon-Ra is still worth it at 85. But if you're not going to pay up for Tyreek Hill, if you're not paying up for Tyreek, obviously there's a big discount amongst these three. Because once you go to Keenan Allen, you're saving 1,000. You go to Amon-Ra, you're saving 1,500. And to keep up with that, Jalen Waddle. Now, Jalen Waddle has constantly stayed in the 6,000 low sevens. They definitely boosted him up close to 8 because of the matchup. Because of that matchup, Jalen Waddle has to be 78. He's the underneath guy, but Jalen Waddle does have the ability to get open deep. Now, if we could get into these filters, we should just start grouping. We should just start grouping people, and we're going to do it this way. We already did Miami, Washington. The game, pretty much the game of the week, the playoff rematch. And like I said, these are teams, stellar defenses, but both of these defenses can be had. They they both have weaknesses. Now, the edge goes to me. The edge goes to the Philly wide receivers. Here's why. It was a couple of weeks ago that the 49ers lost one of their star defensive backs. So now, starting in that backfield, now it's just a case of who they put this guy on. I forgot the cornerback's name, but he's a third round rookie that they have starting back there. They'll probably have him rotating in and out, but right now, to me, if you ask who has the advantage amongst this group of wide receivers, it's without a doubt in this basically 2-on-2. And yes, Kittle's a factor. Olamide Zacchaeus every now and then seems to pop in. I think he has like 3 touchdowns this year without even looking. Definitely 2. Definitely has 2 this year. Olamide Zacchaeus. 1 last week. I know he had 1 earlier in the year. There you go. Against Tampa Bay. So, but with the injuries in the defensive backfield to the 49ers, I like A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. You're looking at them, it will be an expensive double stack with Jalen Hurts. We'll get to him later. But if you're all looking to do so, A.J. Brown at 84, Devontae at 77. And if you look at the pair off with Brock Purdy, Ayuk is 8,000, while Debo's 73. Debo's always a live threat. He's the Swiss Army knife. He can get it from the backfield. He can get it from the slant, RPOs. Now, of course, both defenses are good against the run, but like I said, the injuries might give a slight edge to the Eagle wide receivers. Other big plays, like I said, he didn't fail me last week, fantasy-wise or prop-wise. Michael Pittman has another good matchup against a soft defensive backfield in Tennessee at 7,900. Definitely something to look out for. Hey, I hate Derek Carr too, but there's going to be a few passes he could get to Chris Olave because the Detroit defense, it seems to have peaked. The Detroit team seems to have peaked. So it looked like, could it be one of those things where they start off hot and then they go like 500 going into the playoffs? Who knows? Now, obviously, they're definitely making the playoffs, but the turnovers and everything, I mean, fantasy-wise, with the turnovers, Chris Olave, if he clears concussion protocol, has more chances to play deep, to get deep on top of that defensive backfield of the Lions, which is susceptible to the pass. Either way, home or away, it's going to be on a fast track. Both teams play in a dome. Chris Olave is an interesting pick. Just got to make sure that he clears concussion protocol. Now, an interesting pick that I wanted to talk about here. Adam Thielen. After the hot start, he's pretty much been poop. He has been. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. After this amazing start, after the first 2 weeks, and he seemed to be keyed in on, and like I said, the veteran had the eye of the young quarterback or whatever. Ever since I think it was week 8. I mean, he did have some days here, but guess what? The touchdown regression happened. In the beginning, no touchdowns, a touchdown, 0, 0, 1, 0, and hasn't really done anything since. Now, against Dallas, got the value, but, it was game scripted because of the blowout run. Now, with Adam Thielen, with the possibility of Adam Thielen going against another soft coverage, I'm going to play the narrative on this. Now, let me get you guys onto something real quick. Let me get this game, because I definitely wanted to talk about this game. I'm going to take some shots on Adam Thielen. He's going to be low. I'm not going to talk about Tampa Bay. I want to key in on the Carolina side. Why? Even though that front seven can still get to Bryce Young, make mistakes, and, they could overperform and pick him off a couple of times. I'm going to play the narrative because we all know how it gets. When a coach gets fired, somebody new comes in charge, it motivates the team, and the team seems to play better. We just need them to play better for one game. Okay? Number 2, Thielen, wide receiver, going against one of the bottom 3 or 4 pass defenses in the league. Narrative-wise, I think that coach is going to spread it out a bit, but he's going to make sure he gets that ball to Thielen. I think this is going to be one of those things where all of a sudden, instead of Bryce Young, just pay attention, Bryce Young, instead of taking deep routes and deep dropbacks, 5-7 steps, pay attention to this game. If you have Sunday ticket or whatever the case you have, I got a feeling this is gonna be one of those things where he's gonna have Bryce Young doing quick 3 at maximum 5-step drops and getting the ball out fast. That's the key. And to get the ball out fast, I'm gonna key in on 2 guys. It's gonna be Adam Thielen. And as long as so he got rid of his designation tag. Now, he's not now. Terrace Marshall has been inactive. Not many people pay attention to this, but Terrace Marshall has been inactive the past 2 days, the past 2 games. So it seems to fall out the rotation. If anything, he's only getting in there when they go 5 wide. If Laviska Shenault comes back off injury, please pay attention to Laviska Shenault. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, stat-wise, are the worst, fantasy-wise, DVOA or however you want to term it. They are, not only are they one of the worst pass defenses, but they're worst against the slot. The slot wide receiver is Laviska Shenault if he clears the ankle injury. It was Terrace Marshall, so if he doesn't get it to him, look for Jonathan Mingo, because DJ Chark is the guy that's on the opposite side of Adam Thielen. Thielen now in this new role is playing a top wide receiver and the veteran lead, so he's not in the slot no more like he was in Minnesota. The slot wide receiver is either going to be Mingo, Terrace Marshall, but I don't think it's Terrace Marshall because he's been inactive the last 2, for those who don't know. So he's like the 3rd option. But if Laviska Shenault comes back and he's cleared, look for either Laviska or Jonathan Mingo. And like I said, the guy in the slot is normally running every now and then a deep slant. He's either running a quick slant out or a quick slant in. And when you're running quick slants, that runs in perfect with 3 to 5 step drops. It's something to key on, and you got cheap wide receivers here that can open up Saturday for you. I don't think a lot of people are going to be talking about this, but Tampa Bay being worse against the slot, those are 2 people you need to pay attention to. Let's keep going down wide receiver. Other nice plays that I think should be paid attention to this week. Deontay Johnson with the new offense in Pittsburgh. And then Marquise Brown going against Pittsburgh. That's a nice little mini stack. Both of them are 68 together. Terry McLaurin. All Washington wide receivers are viable. Why? Because there's a possibility for a big blowout run. And then most likely Sam Howell's going to be doing nothing but passing. So you can't rule them out. You cannot rule them out. McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, and Johan Dotson. All those guys are in play. They are all in play. Denver wide receivers, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, they're also in play as well. They have a nice matchup with Houston. So that's an interesting game that could look to shoot out. I think it opened up at a 46.5, maybe 47.5. So definitely look out for that right there. And other plays that I like. Definitely the targets that he gets definitely, and still at a nice price, Josh Downs. Once again, against the pass funnel Tennessee, definitely look for Josh Downs to get some more targets. If you look, like, it kind of got me upset last time or whatever because, his targets was consistent. He has a couple of boom weeks, but pass funnel, he got 13 last week. Because literally, it's concentrated. Just like how Tampa Bay is concentrated with Godwin and Evans. Or it's pretty much Smith and A.J. Brown. When it comes to Minshew, Pittman's first, Josh Downs is second. But what I like about Josh Downs is, even though when it's a broken play and he still looks for Pittman, it seems like when it comes to that quick drop back, if you see Minshew take a quick 2, 3, maximum 4 steps back or whatever, 5 steps, it's going to be going to Joshua Downs. And he definitely targeted the hell out of him against another pass funnel defense, 13 targets. I watched that game in misery because I had a couple of double stacks with him and Pittman, and it just didn't work out because there was a couple times he just had some bad throws and just missed them horribly. But that's not going to keep me from getting back on the Josh Downs train. Anything else? Just a quick rundown. Yeah, I already went over a very good point with Carolina. There goes Alec Pierce, who gathers the rest. Bad defense against New England. Jalen Guyton for some ownership salvage 53. Michael Wilson with the shoulder. If he's out again, then you can look for Greg Dortch. Greg Dortch definitely had a solid game. Well, not a solid game, but once again, he kind of got in flow with what he did last year, because Greg Dortch definitely won me some weeks or whatever and helped me cash a bit. He has the history. He has the history with Kyler Murray from last year, and as you can see, he's definitely trusted. Came in with 9 targets and 8 targets the last 2 weeks. So pretty much 17 targets in 2 weeks, just over 100 yards and a touchdown. So definitely Greg Dortch again, but the big but is Michael Wilson has to be out again. He has to be out again. I don't think I'll go any lower. I will now. We went to wide receiver. Now let's go attack quarterback. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Jalen Hurts in the game of the week against San Francisco. Why not? If somehow the passing doesn't work, which I think it should, Jalen Hurts should be once again to be able to save the day and scramble. My favorite play. I mean, I'm sorry. There's not going to be a way I'm going to be getting away from this. Yes, I get different, but my top play is definitely Tua. I mean, there has been weeks where the Tua stacks have been weird because you just stack the wide receivers and maybe have the running back. You don't need Tua. It has happened, but this is the week that I'll be trying my best to at least get pieces of that Washington game. Either way, on the ground or in the air, Dolphins are already optimal. It's just which ones. C.J. Stroud in the Denver matchup, that seems to be a tough one. I know he's soaring in popularity. I will definitely come under the field against them, even though it's good that they're playing at home. But I will definitely come under the field against a upstart Denver defense who has won 5 in a row. They're hot. That defense is looking like last year's defense, and the offense is producing. So I don't think this is going to be a shutout. I think it could be like one of those tough games. It might slightly fall under. This to me sounds like a 24-21, 23-20 kind of game where fantasy output is there, but it falls just short of the Vegas over under. That's what I'm thinking with this game right here. Brock Purdy, like I said, Philly does have the ability to got on the pass. So Brock Purdy, and he throws an amazing ball. He has an amazing tight spiral. I think Brock Purdy should have a game. He's definitely going to look to redeem himself because obviously he got hurt in that game. Damn near got broken. And then, just went south from there. So Brock Purdy definitely a play I'm looking at. Kyler Murray once again against Pittsburgh. Look for Kyler Murray if Pittsburgh front line can get some pressure and T.J. Watt flushes him out the pocket. Look for Kyler Murray to do a lot of running this week. I think he's going to have a peak running performance. He probably will have a better running performance the rest of the year after this week. I think if T.J. and some of those guys on the front could force him up the pocket, I think Kyler Murray, and you know what? With me saying that, just because of the way the game script and the team that he's playing, I'm just going to shout this out right now. Anytime touchdown for Kyler Murray definitely sounds like a good bet right now. It's almost as good as, but the odds are going to be better because Jalen Hurts damn near does it every week. So if you wanted me to pick one and parlay it because TJ could flush from the side and make him step up, yeah, Kyler Murray definitely going to be doing some things on the ground. Jared Goff has been turning over the ball like crazy, which is why I'm definitely going to recommend New Orleans. Especially, I like to recommend New Orleans at home. And they could be liable for a couple of interceptions. Sam Howell could be optimal too because, who knows what he opens up. Now, obviously, he probably won't have the day as Tua, but 7,500, what he opens up. And if Sam Howell takes some punishment, has 2 interceptions, but if he throws for 3 touchdowns or whatever, what does he open up for the rest of your lineup fantasy-wise? So, probably won't be the optimal quarterback, but he could definitely be optimal enough to open up salary and for the rest of your team to do what they need to do. Russell Wilson has been pretty efficient, has a nice matchup with Houston. That's going to be a cool game to watch. Uh, I mean, I remember telling my boy Lucky, I know you watching, my man. These two right here. These two right here pissed us off last week. They damn sure did. And like I said, when I started doing research and reviewing the slate, the fact that they got these two together at 6,800 just made me laugh. Just keep up on the news on Baker Mayfield. Definitely, that ankle's definitely sore. I won't be surprised if he doesn't practice till the end of the week. He got hurt early in that game, so he basically played on a bad ankle for about 3.5 quarters. This guy. How many times are you gonna get benched, man? Like really? Like you've been benched more times. Let's be honest. You've been benched more times than some teams got wins, dude. Anyway, let's get out of here. Yeah, let's get to the running backs. We're making good timing. 9,800 Christian McCaffrey. Whether if you don't like the matchup on the ground, he gets enough volume in the air, so he's still viable. Jonathan Taylor. Fan of him last week didn't pretty much work out. He has another tough matchup, Tennessee. Now lately they've been able to get God on the ground, but like I said, I like the way they ran Jonathan Taylor. Sometimes they ran him out of shotgun draws and kind of some misdirection. Now, yeah, there was some plays where he just plowed it up the middle, but the game design was definitely good for Jonathan Taylor. The only thing that surprised me is how many carries that Zach Moss got. That was another reason why I was feeling good of taking that under of 80.5, which I almost got. But like I said, that last run that milked the clock, and the fact that he got like 11 or whatever yards, he ended up I think with 91. So that's what broke it. But the game design and his ability just to slip through little cracks in the offensive line and just explode. It was amazing. Definitely fun watching Jonathan Taylor. He's definitely back and healthy. Once again, we're talking about the Dolphins again, and then by the way, I was heavy on this guy. If I would have did an episode, I'm glad I at least recommended him in prospects. But Kyron Williams, you had an amazing game. I think you definitely have a tougher matchup. But like I said, Raheem Mostert. I mean, come on. What else is there to be said? You have a prime matchup, and he should definitely have 20% ownership, especially if Devon Achane's ankle is not well enough and he's ruled out. Definitely pay attention to that. Raheem Mostert is a good play with Achane in. If Achane is out, definitely a lock for me. Alvin Kamara still gets that volume. He's the man in that backfield. But it will be interesting on Narrative Street how hard Jamal Williams will go against his former team. Jamal Williams at home, remember, he was the mega vulture last year. I think what he had, 15 to 18 touchdowns last year, vulturing and getting goal line looks. So, Indiana versus Tennessee, Derrick Henry. Like I said, people counted out Derrick Henry. He had a solid game last week. Bijan. That Jet defense is something that I respect, but there are teams that are able to run on them now. So things are kind of changing, just like how bad the Denver Broncos look, and they're changing to a legit playoff threat or competition for the wild card. Now we have Bijan, who's getting consistent looks. Like I said, it really started 3 weeks ago. If you look, 16-22, well, 2 weeks ago, because before it was 11-11, and he was getting this bullshit nonsense, and it looked good in the beginning of the season, and then it was all types of nonsense from there. Last 2 weeks, almost 40 carries, targets, 8 targets in the last 2 weeks. Has a receiving touchdown. Has 2 rushing touchdowns in the last 2 weeks. So Bijan definitely a look. Austin Eckler at 8,000 even. Once again, FanDuel, and I don't know if DraftKings can say that. Once again, they're making you pick. David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs. It's a solid run defense too, top 10. So, and like I said, New Orleans defense at home. I mean, they could get got in the air, yes, but that front center is legitimate. So, definitely pick carefully. Rashad White, looking for another productive day. Nice, still at a nice price at 7,500. He hasn't had that blow up game yet where he's like gonna get to 78, 79, but his consistency still keeps him nice and steady. Like I said, Devon Achane still questionable with knee. You're gonna have to watch out for that. Sneaky play probably won't be too popular. Will probably be Ramondre because he has a great matchup against the Los Angeles Chargers. New England's quarterback situation is horrible. Why does Ramondre look good? He's the lead back. And hey, if you want to get cheap and you paid up for a bunch of stuff, don't knock Zeke Elliott either. Because Zeke is normally in the fives and low sixes. And if he gets a few carries here and then gets a touchdown and a couple of receptions, like I said, he opens up a lot of salary for you. Najee Harris is definitely somebody I'm looking at 7,200 against the porous Arizona run defense. The Devin Singletary situation is interesting because he is the man right now. Didn't run well last week, but he got a ton of work out the backfield. Even when he wasn't playing, they don't throw the ball to Dameon Pierce. Dameon Pierce is strictly on the ground. It's the same thing last year. Different coaching staff and everything, different quarterback. Davis Mills. Dameon Pierce is strictly a running back. Like Dameon Pierce might get one or two, like he might get 3 targets in 2 weeks. Put it like that. So it's definitely an interesting situation here. Dameon Pierce will take some work from Devin Singletary, but he makes up for it in the pass game. But once again, going against has a good matchup against Denver's run defense. If we keep going down here, Javonte Williams. Like I said, Houston's run defense has been better. They don't look as bad as the typical run funnel that they are, but they do look like but Javonte is still a solid option with the volume that he gets against them. As we keep going down, here's another narrative. James Conner, I think this might be his first game against Pittsburgh ever since he was let go from Pittsburgh. So I know he's going to be running extra angry. He will definitely be a good look in a few lineups at 6,300. That's a great price right there. And there you go. You got Dameon Pierce at 5,900. See if he could bust some out. Like I said, that's a nice value. They're both worth looking at. And his return back, Devin Singletary had about 5 or 6 receptions. Now, they worked them in simple, not too much. Like I said, he only got 1 target for 4 yards, rushed 5 times for 14. But like I said, I think after that week or whatever and seeing how he ran, and then I'll just bring it back up to Singletary to give you the comparison. Neither running back did well on the ground at all. He only got 6 for 18, but like I said, they go to 7 targets for 54. So if we're looking at that narrative, I think Dameon Pierce is in the case where he might get ramped up to at least 10 to 11 carries. But like I said, I'm pretty sure they don't want to take the ball out of CJ Stroud's hand. So we'll just temper that expectation to around, if he got 5 carries, let's temper it up to a floor of 8 to 12. As we continue here, like I said, Javonte, Damian, Samaje is also a threat. Like I said, it was surprising how much work Zach Moss got. He got 8 carries, also got 3 targets, so he's not completely out the question. Tyler Algier. I actually like Antonio Gibson way more than Brian Robinson. I will be fading Brian Robinson because, yes, you can run against Miami. You can. But if that game gets out of hand, they will not run Brian Robinson because Antonio Gibson is the running back that they call in for passing work and passing downs in a 2-minute offense. So that's just a strategic move right there. If you're looking at a Washington running back, if you are, and this, I think game script wise, not only is he great at a great price, but he's someone where he can get some work in the first half, and if it gets out of hand by the mid-third quarter, you can literally see Antonio Gibson in the game from mid-third all the way to the end, getting those elusive garbage time points. And if he could get into the end zone, 5,300, he doesn't have to do much. He could get it with the reception and the way his pass volume is alone. When you look and when you see all this, like I said, running wise, okay, it's fine. He gets a few carries here and there. But if you keep looking to the side from the beginning of the season, 3 targets, 5 targets, 6 targets, 1 target, 2, 5, 5, 6, 4. And I think his touchdowns, he has 2 rushing and 2 receiving. So if he can at least get one of those in, then he makes his day. There goes Zeke. Like I say, he can get the goal line work. I really, if anything, I think Belichick knows how weak they are, how weak the Chargers are against the run. So I like Zeke and Ramondre. There's a lot of ways you can go this week. Let's go to tight ends. Big shout out to Pat Frymouth. That's another team where they fired an offensive coordinator or a new offensive coordinator comes in. Pat Frymouth goes for 109 for 114, and he's only at 58. So definitely somebody I'll be looking for. It will be interesting to see if Goddard comes back for this game. Now, it's not the best matchup at all, but if he's out, that once again that might want you to sneak in Zacchaeus, maybe, or Mide Zacchaeus, but it still gives a proven boost to Devontae and A.J. Brown. Sam Laporta in a good matchup in New Orleans. Surprisingly, Philly is somewhat weak now. They didn't get burned by Dalton Kincaid last week. But here's the good thing about tight end right here before I even go more into Kittle. We don't have to worry about, Andrews is out for the year and there's no Kelsey. So tight end starts at a fairly decent price at 74. I definitely like Laporta more. McBride's volume, I definitely like McBride as well at 67. You just never know what the hell you're going to get with Taysom Hill, but against Detroit, you could definitely see him getting some work. Dalton Schultz, I think, is my number one because Denver has gotten toasted by opposing tight ends all year. So going all the way down to Schultz for 62, not bad from the top. You're pretty much saving $1,200 from Kittle. Like I said, Logan Thomas, he's viable. Cade Otton, always a favorite target. He always gets his nice amount of targets from Baker Mayfield. Logan Thomas, once again, I said everybody in the receiving corps is viable for these guys. Everybody in the receiving corps is viable for Washington. And then it's here. Just take your pick. But let me tell you something. For cash games, and maybe if he can finally get into the end zone, I'm sorry, but I've been paying attention to this guy. And Tyler Conklin has been nothing but consistent for these guys. I mean, just look at this. These are consistent fantasy numbers. And I don't think I've seen Tyler Conklin more at any price of $5,100 all year. Just look at these numbers, guys. 6 for 5. 5 targets for 3. 6 for 4. 5 for 4. 4 for 3 with decent yardage. That week, a goose egg. 6 for 6. 7 for 7. It's the guy. I mean, if you're not, not trying to say I'm no expert or anything, but I'm really watching some of these guys, and there are some good value plays. They just need to get into the end zone. Tyler Conklin gets into the end zone 3 or 4 times with this kind of volume on any other team. And in some weeks, he's 2Xing what he normally is, because I don't think I've ever seen him more than 41. The lowest I've seen him is 46. And as you can see here, there's certain weeks that he's actually 2Xing his 4,000 and whatever, but mostly he's been in the high 4Ks. This is just one of those. That's a GPP play if he gets a touchdown, but he's definitely a nice cash player. Doesn't have to do much, but his volume alone. I understand the Jets look like trash, but his volume alone gets him there. So hopefully one day he can finally get a touchdown, because getting 5, 3, 7, 6, 4, 5, and 6 and 5 targets consistently, he should be able to do something. But once again, he's a victim of playing for the Jets. And we'll wrap this up with the defense. The number one defense this week is the Dolphins against Washington. I think they probably would have had them at 51-52 if Miami was at home. I'm just saying that right now. Sam Howell. Now, coaching change. If y'all have noticed lately, yes, he's still taking a beating. But if you notice lately, Sam Howell is doing quick dropbacks now. They're doing their best to try and limit the punishment on him. So what you're looking for is, yes, you're looking to see if they can get some sacks, but you're also looking to see if they can get either that pick 6 or at least a few interceptions. At 5,000, at the regular max for a defense, you're hoping that they probably only allow 13 to 16 points, but at the same time, a floor of 10, maximum 16 or 17, but at the same time, you're looking them to, realistically, sack Howell 4 to 6 times and maybe get 2 interceptions. And you're hoping for maybe during one of those sacks, a forced fumble or whatever the case is. You get the forced fumble with the fumble recovery, that 2-point sack turned into a 3-point sack, so on and so forth. Tampa Bay is an interesting pick. It's just going to be interesting to see what kind of setup this new coaching regime has for Bryce Young. If we keep going down, Jets are interesting pick, 4,400 at home. Cleveland at Los Angeles Rams. That's an interesting pick at 41. Denver right there at 4. New England at home. Like I said, the Chargers aren't the most dynamic offense. That team is not looking really good right now. I'm still surprised that Staley's still the coach. That's an interesting one right there. That's going to catch a few people's eye, and some people are going to jump on that. The fact that the Eagles are at home. I think that's going to be a popular pick. That is going to be a popular pick. But if you ask me, what's my favorite defense under 4,000? Like I said, the Saints are a good pick at home because of the turnover upside. That is definitely a good pick. Texans at home are a solid pick, but I can't go I can't go this far down. I won't go this far down. My favorite pick would have to be either 3,700 Rams against most likely the third quarterback for the Browns. DTR got hurt last week, so I think it's PJ Walker that's looking to make the start. You could go that way. Saints at home against turnover-prone Detroit all of a sudden, 3,600. And yeah, those are my two favorites right there. And if you want to go a tad cheaper, like I said, Broncos have improved. 5-game winning streak, but they're not the way they play the game. They control the clock. They'll get it down the field for a big play here and there. And it's just that their game style and their defense, they're not going to put that many points on the board. So I don't think you have to worry about, Denver putting up a 35, 38, 41 and putting your defense in the negative. They can still get to Wilson on some sacks. Hey, you might force Wilson into an interception. So right here, I think is where you want to live if you're looking to pay down. But I think the most popular option, people are going to see this and say, yeah, Philly at home, 38. I think that's going to be the most popular pick. And that's it for this preview on Week 13. Please like and subscribe. I hope you like the information that I've given for this preview. Have a good night. Good luck with your research this weekend. And this is Grade A Fantasy, signing off.